You don't have to drink the whole sea to know it's salty. Have you ever looked back on a year of your life and felt that despite so much happening, you didn't really grow? Then there are those other moments when you start a new job, take up a new hobby, or find yourself in a new environment, and somehow, after a short time, you find yourself keeping up with people who have been there for years. The topic I want to talk about in this video is how to make the most of your experience. So what is experience really, and why do some people get more out of it than others? Is it talent? Is it luck? Is it simply time spent doing something? Sure, these things matter, but I don't think they tell the whole story. Let me give you a simple definition of experience. Experience is the process of acquiring knowledge or skills through doing, seeing, or feeling things. It isn't just what happens to you, it's what you do with it. Experience doesn't automatically turn into learning. With simple things, it's obvious. For example, touching a hot stove teaches you not to do it again. But in more complex areas such as work, relationships, and so on, the lesson isn't always automatic. That's where the process matters. I think often we treat experience as merely what happens to us, or measure it by time, age, and years spent somewhere. And to be fair, that matters. Without real situations, there is no real life experience, right? However, what we often forget is that not everyone processes experience in the same way or with the same depth. Some people go through situations and simply move on. Others pay attention. They observe, participate, and reflect. This is why someone who lives more consciously can become more experienced in less time than someone who has spent years in the same environment in autopilot, so to say. Therefore, let me make one important distinction. I have seen a lot, and a lot has happened to me, are not the same as I have learned a lot. One is exposure, the other is processing. Having principles for processing experience could help you gain much more insight and skill from each situation. Let me tell you a quick story. I started paying attention to this topic because I kept noticing an interesting pattern at work. Whenever I joined a new environment, I would quickly become familiar with topics that initially seemed difficult, such as strategy and decision making. It wasn't because I magically knew more. It was because I was paying attention. I would listen to how people spoke. I would pay attention to the words they used and repeated, what they actually cared about, what they avoided, who had influence, who didn't, and what they considered as good in that environment or branch. Rather than waiting to be ready, I would create something and present it in a meeting and allow it to be criticized. That sounds painful, and it was, but that taught me more in weeks than just passive observation would have taught me in months. I applied the same to studying my relationships and sports. I tried to break it down into 4 principles that I've noticed have helped me get more out of my experiences. Principle 1. Awareness. In this case, awareness means collecting signals, reading the room, being aware of your environment, and recognizing patterns. How do people act? How do they speak? What do they truly value? What are their boundaries? For oneself, this means, how can I become involved as quickly as possible, influence outcomes and decisions, and avoid crossing boundaries and disturbing the peace? A key detail here is that awareness isn't just about others, it's also about you. Is there feedback that you ignore? Or is there something you secretly avoid doing? Asking yourself these and other questions will give you the self-reflection needed to accelerate the process and achieve success. Principle 2. Responsibility. This sounds simple, yet is very powerful. Take responsibility as early in life as possible, and also when you enter a new environment where you want to thrive. Taking responsibility often requires a certain amount of trust from others, but it also strengthens the trust that people have in you. Trust creates access, and access creates opportunities, which create chances for more experience. Even small responsibilities matter. This could mean looking after something important to others, owning a task, or being the person who follows through. When you consistently do what you say you will do, people give you bigger opportunities. Those bigger opportunities put you in situations where you have new and exciting experiences. Yes, it comes with pressure, but that's the point. It proves that you are useful, respected, and trustworthy. Principle number 3. Courage. Courage is the quiet decision to give yourself permission to start before you feel ready. Permission to appear inexperienced. I remember uploading my first song on YouTube when I was 16. Suddenly people had opinions. Some were supportive, some mocking, and some weirdly personal. That's when I learned that without courage, I hold myself back, along with my talents and capabilities, just because of social pressure. The fear of being judged, the fear of failing publicly. But courage is the door you must go through to even enter the room in the first place. And it also enables you to keep going after failure. Principle number 4. Failure. Failure is painful. Nobody likes it, but it can provide valuable learning opportunities. At university, I failed exams more than once. The weird thing is that this actually gave me an advantage. When you fail, you're forced to consider how you learn, what you procrastinate over, how you handle stress, how you recover, and what you do when your ego is bruised. I'm not suggesting that you should fail on purpose or romanticize struggle. I'm saying take calculated risks where failure is survivable. Then reflect, learn, and repeat. But all of these principles would be nothing without action and repetition. Overall, action is required to get started, right? And repetition is the so-called multiplier. You can be aware, you can take responsibility, be courageous, and fail, but if you don't try again, you won't make much progress. So that's my take on the topic. Let me know what you think and whether any of it resonated with you. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe for more and leave a like. Thanks for your time. Bye.